Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Interview with the Vampire, episode 7 from season 2. I could not prevent it. This is the penultimate episode of the season. And as you know, as we left off in the last one, this one is going to be a banger. Real quick, let's go over the cast. We have Jacob Anderson as Louis, Sam Reed, which we saw return in the flesh as Louis, as Lestat. We have Eric Bogosian as Daniel Malloy, the interviewer, and Delaney Hales as Claudia, and Assad Saman as Armand. And those are our main players. Big shout out to the actor who plays Santiago. Really coming through in this episode. Before I get into spoilers, this episode delivers everything that we had been waiting for, really, for the full season, as far as the fate of a lot of our main protagonists. Now, if you're a reader of the book, if you've seen the film, you probably knew where some of this stuff was going. But the way that it's unpacked and unraveled in this episode is just very well done. Big ups to everyone working on this show because they are really killing it. And just, I am so delighted to have Sam Reed back in the flesh as Lestat. Like, his performance through this episode is amazing. He just eats up the scenery, and I think he also elevates everybody else's performance, right? Specifically, his chemistry with Jacob Anderson. It's so good. Like, they are just, I don't know. I really enjoy the scenes where they are together now. I forgot how much fun they had, especially now that this is not the Lestat from Louis' mind, right? This is a real one. He's there for sure, and we don't know what to expect from him. As you'll see in this episode, he can go off script at any time. So we're gonna get into spoilers. If you haven't seen the episode, make sure to go check it out. Come back and watch the rest of this video because I'm gonna talk about everything that happened in this episode. So the trial commences for Madeline, Louis, and Claudia. They're being brought up on charges. Each one has different charges, and that was really interesting. The first, Madeline, really just by being created and outside of the coven. Um, Louis, of course, the attempted murder of Lestat. Now that they reveal that he is alive, as well as some other charges against the Code of the Vampires, and then Claudia, of course, the most. She really pretty much went through the checklist of the Code of the Vampire and violated each and every single one of those rules. So, in this episode, we finally see Lestat coming up. He takes his sweet time to arriving on stage and ends up giving a great entrance. He will perform for the audience. He's going to go through this play in his own way, in the way that only Lestat could. We do flash back to the interview, and Daniel questions Armand's motives, right? Because why would he betray Louis like this? What does he gain? What is the deal? Like, why did he betray everyone, right? He is the reason that they are in this precarious situation. So Lestat begins to recount his meeting of Louis in his own special way, but interestingly enough, when we go back and visit with Louis in the present with the interview, he mentions that maybe things did happen in the way that Lestat was saying them. He doesn't really know, and this is very interesting because it's a very fun way to have Louis' memories be unreliable, especially after everything we've learned about Armand's mind manipulation and his own, like, Louis he's very old, so he's very forgetful. And maybe that's an issue. Maybe he's caused himself more damage than previously stated. So we do see a heckler interrupt the play, and Lestat does not like this. He very quickly, in his own way, takes care of it. And it was very fun. That was one of my favorite scenes from the episode because you can just tell Sam Reed is having a ball doing this. And it's nothing violent. He just very much psychologically destroys this person, as any heckler should be when they disrupt a performance. We also hear the story of how Claudia was turned, being retold. Now, it's been a minute since I watched season 1, so this was really interesting to go back because even Louis mentions maybe that is the way it happened, right? Lestat has some details that are a little bit different from what we know, and yeah, it was an interesting approach to this. We see that now in the present, we have visions of Lestat, which Louis has. So, how much, even though we had previously gotten rid of that vision of Lestat from Louis's mind, it looks like he's ever present, and of course, that's really what the relationship is all about. But yeah, just going through all those details from season one really made me rethink some of the stuff, some of the story, and just the unreliability of everything we've heard so far. Of course, at a moment, Lestat goes off script. He confronts Claudia. He also, in a sort of a way, apologizes to Louis for some of the things that they did. Specifically, their big fight, right, where he took Louis like up in the sky and then just dropped him. If you remember that, that was really fun to revisit that scene. And it's just, yeah, Sam Reed, like I said, MVP of this episode. But yeah, Santiago, he's playing off of Lestat, right? This is their both of their play. There's also a really cool effect that they, because the vampires, the vampires on trial are just sitting there. They have been beaten. Their tendons in their feet have been cut, so they just can't run off and attack somebody. But also, every time they speak, the jury of vampires behind them uses their mind with all their powers combined to stifle any speech and anything they could say in the trial. But they get in some little jabs in there, some little statements. So of course, we continue the trial as intended. I really love also the visuals of the imagery that the Theater of Vampires have prepared for the background of this to illustrate all this story as it goes through. And we begin with the verdicts. So Madeline is given the choice whether to join the coven or die, and she chooses Claudia in a really beautiful moment. Claudia is also found guilty and sentenced to be put to death along with Madeline. And Louis is also found guilty, but the audience cannot proclaim death due to Armand. And Armand interferes, and this is where he uses all the power that I guess he was holding back on to have Louis banished instead of killed. And that's the best he could do. He is the one that says I could not prevent it, and in this case, he's referring to when Daniel asked him how come he didn't save Claudia. He replies I could not prevent it. So for his banishment, Louis is put into a coffin in the crypt, which is a horrible torture. And then Claudia and Madeline are killed by sunlight in a very somber yet kind of beautiful moment. The last thing she sees is looks over at Lestat. So I don't know where Lestat mind is at. And I'm very excited and very interested to see how we'll finish out this season, because I don't think Louis is going to take this lying down literally, because he's right now in a coffin, in a crypt full of rocks, so he can't move, just being there left to starve. So obviously we know he doesn't die because he's in the present and we are talking to him during the interview. We don't see any of the Talamasca stuff this time around. I think they're just kind of dropping that maybe for a little bit now, but it was fun to establish that throughout the season. Maybe they'll have a little bit of a stinger or an after credits or something next episode during the finale. But yeah, really excited for this. I can't wait to see how we end this. And there's gonna be a lot of answers that we get, but I think this is gonna raise a lot more questions too. So if you have watched this episode, let me know what did you think of this episode of Interview with the Vampire. And as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.